Hey everybody, Chad Cruiser here with Health and Homestead. I'm with a good friend of mine, Lee Wellard, who is an herbalist. And Lee, I know one of the most common things that people struggle with is sleep. People are struggling either falling to sleep or staying asleep. Do you give us some of the best natural remedies, herbals that you think are beneficial in this particular case?
There are over 100 different causes of sleep problems, and there are over 100 different types of herbs that you could use for sleep. So it really depends on what the underlying mechanisms that are causing the problems. So in North America, a survey that was done on insomniacs showed that 51% of the insomnia was due to stress or anxiety. And so if that is the initial cause, then I highly recommend nervines. These are a category of herbs that help feed the nerves, relax the nerves. In many cases, they'll boost serotonin levels. They'll help just relax the muscles as well because they're helping with the nerves. And they'll also just help with the adrenal functions. They can also just give you a sense of calmness. So nervines is a category, but there are many herbs that fit into that. So some of the most common ones are things like valerian.
Here's a meta-analysis of 60 studies conducted looking at the impact of valerian and its safety. It was found to enhance sleep quality and lower levels of anxiety. They suggest that the whole root seems to help more consistently than the extract, and there were no severe side effects.
Some of the most common ones are things like valerian, things like skullcap, things like oat straw. In fact, it was my wife's poor health with insomnia that led us into this ministry. She had nearly 6 years of no sleep past midnight.
Wow.
And we went to the best of the best, and no one could tell us even what caused it. And it was in the process of my wife reading.
And I know caffeine was not her issue, like
no,
me, right?
No, it wasn't. She actually got hold of one of my herb books. And even though I wasn't big into herbs at the time, she started looking through and she discovered a herb called oat straw. And she had a lot of prolonged exhaustion, nervous fatigue. And we were in the Philippines at the time, which, it's very stressful. You're moving from one place to another. You're away from family, friends, and it's a new environment. And so that really helped her because she was waking up at midnight every night and couldn't get back to sleep.
Wow.
So often what happens, Chad, is when you've had a lot of exhaustion, prolonged fatigue, then the nerves get depleted of these minerals that power them, called electrolytes. And when you've lost a lot of electrolytes, then the nerves are in a state of hypersensitivity. And so the sensory nerve tracts that go to the frontal lobe where the sleep centers are, they don't allow the sleep centers to stay switched on through the whole night because there's sensory input that's coming into the body that's causing the nerves to be agitated and cause us to be in this light state of sleep. So oat straw actually relaxes the nerves so that you can go through that period where you're not in a hypersensitive state. And so that really helped her. Within 3 days, she was back to 8 hours sleep.
Wow.
Now, it's not for everyone who's got insomnia. It's for a specific type of cause. So there are other causes like muscle tension. It could be digestive related. It could be hormonal related. It could be nutritional deficiencies. There are many different causes to it. But if you can at least isolate what you think could be potentially causing that problem, then you can focus on the herbal remedies that are specific to that problem. Yes.
And I think oat straw is one of the herbals that has a lot of nutrition. Am I right about that?
Exactly. It's a nutritive tonic, we call it.
Those are a few. Any others that you think of that off the top of your head, or?
Yes, there are quite a few, depending on the situation. So if it's, let's say, digestive, a lot of sleep issues are related to digestion. And so you don't want to go to bed on a full stomach. That's rule number one.
Yes, totally. Okay. I know that from personal experience.
Heavy protein, heavy fats. If you're going to have something at evening, you want to have more carbohydrates, things that assimilate very quickly.
And you're referring to something like fruit.
Yeah, fruit.
Obviously, we're not talking about a candy bar or something like that.
Exactly, right. And so things that will help with digestion could be things like chamomile, could be things like peppermint.
Here's a study on peppermint oil and IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome. Peppermint oil was put to the test to see if it was effective in treating irritable bowel syndrome in a randomized placebo-controlled trial. The patient's symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome include pain, when using the toilet, mucus and gas, and urgency to defecate, also stomach pain, diarrhea, and constipation. The patients were either given placebo or enteric-coated pills containing peppermint oil, and 75% of those taking the peppermint oil showed a reduction in their irritable bowel syndrome compared to 38% in the placebo group, revealing a statistically significant benefit. And Dr. Michael Greger had pointed out that taking a quarter cup of peppermint leaves may have the same amount of oil, so you can maybe either blend them into a smoothie. It may work for a tea, but you probably won't get quite as much of the oil in a tea, but something to try.
You know, they help facilitate better bowel movement. They can help with gastric flow. They can help with gastric motility. So those could be helpful for that. You've got things for muscle tension as well. You could even use something topically for that as well, like arnica.
Okay.
Arnica is great as a muscle relaxant, and massage as well, and also hydrotherapy, which I'm sure you've covered already. And then you have things like lavender, you have things like lemon balm, hops. If you have an overactive brain, for example, highly recommend hops.
Hops is a great one. Here's a study on hops, specifically in a non-alcoholic drink. We do not suggest alcoholic hops. A study was conducted on nurses who work night shift or on a revolving time shift. And this study wanted to determine the sedative effect that a non-alcoholic hops drink would have on individuals who had what the researchers called a work-stressed experience. In the study, the nurses would consume a drink containing 0 alcohol with their supper for 14 days, and they were monitored by something called ActiWatch, a device that would measure the amount of movement they made while they were sleeping. Results: the time it took to fall asleep, or called sleep latency, decreased compared to the control group. Their amount of movement or activity decreased during the night compared to the control group. And another benefit is that it lowered the levels of anxiety more than the control group. And the researchers report that using it moderately has a benefit, something like 2 grams of hops. Another benefit reported in the study is that it also had an anti-carcinogenic effect. You also simply can make a tea out of hops. A great one. Like you just mentioned, those lemon balm, hops, both of those. I mean, there's research to back these things up.
Exactly.
Yeah. And any others you're thinking of?
Yeah. So people with depression, sometimes they use St. John's wort to help with that.
29 different studies with over 5,000 patients have been conducted looking at the effectiveness of St. John's wort. And St. John's wort has been compared to placebo and different medications, including selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors and tri- or tetracyclic antidepressants. And it turns out that St. John's wort is as effective as the standard depression medication in research trials, and actually some of the time even more successful than the drugs. And St. John's wort has fewer side effects than the medications.
And then for nutrition, if you could be lacking magnesium, that's a big one. Even vitamin D has been shown to cause insomnia, lack thereof. All right, so if you have leg cramps, like you just can't relax, you've got these restless legs, that's often a sign that you're lacking some of these minerals, like magnesium is very good for sleep. In fact, you can soak your body in some of these Epsom salts that's high in magnesium and can cause that to relax. And then there's things such as lemon balm.
Lemon balm, one of the things about lemon balms is the most beautiful smell in the world. And wonderful. So like growing the stuff, we have it growing right out our front door, and I go out there and I just rub it in my fingers and smell it, and that, to be honest, that's like a heavenly smell. I mean, there are few things that smell as good as lemon balm to me. And so, and it is shown to have stress reducing capabilities. And so, and once again, you don't want to overdo it, because you might think, oh, then I'll just take a ton. But when you overdo it, it actually has a negative effect. So it's, once again, being moderate even with a good thing.
Exactly. Same with valerian. Valerian is a sedative, can help relax you, but 5% of people, it's actually a stimulant. And then if you took too much, it can have a negative effect as well. Catnip's another one.
Oh, yes, catnip.
As well.
So what about kava? I know it's maybe kind of has a bad rap, or had a bad rap for a while. I think it was even banned maybe for a time. Is that, do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, so kava actually had 30 clinical cases of liver toxicity back, I think it was around 2000, 2001.
Okay.
Which shows you there was a problem. So what actually happened is the kava root got actually mixed up with kava peelings. Now the kava peelings are toxic, and so it ended up causing liver damage.
Ah.
Okay. However, the root is very safe unless you mix it with alcohol. So what kava does,
Which honestly, alcohol is not good
not good for
with sleep anyway. I mean, it makes you fall asleep, but you actually don't get quality sleep anyway. So cutting alcohol out of your life is one of the best things you can do just for your health in general.
exactly. Kava is excellent for insomnia if it's related to anxiety. That's where it shines the most. Yeah, it's also a muscle relaxant, and it makes you feel very, very relaxed. Socially, you feel more calm, relaxed. Your muscles aren't tense, and it's very sedating.
Okay.
So that's an excellent one to take if it's caused from anxiety. However, don't take it if you're driving.
Makes
Because
sense.
it can make you fall asleep during the day. So all these herbs are best used just before sleep, usually about an hour before you go to sleep, because they take about an hour to kick in. So just have a cup of tea, or you can use an extract. I'll just mention this to you about teas. If you take a lot of tea before you go to bed, that's just going to wake you up. So
To go to the bathroom.
ideally, the best way to take it is actually as an extract, because you don't have a large volume of fluid that's going to be initiating a bladder response throughout the night.
I'm one of those old men that have to get up and go to the bathroom at night, so I understand that. I get that. Well, one of the things that you may know if you've seen my videos with Lee before, he is the owner of the American Herb Shop, and they make themselves, they're not shipping them off to other countries and just buying things, they're actually making these extracts themselves with his family personally. So this is something that can be trusted. I trust them completely because they're doing this themselves. And so this is something that you can check out. I'm going to have a link down below, both in the description and in the comments section. Lee, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications. God bless and have a fantastic day.